Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We will discuss today the material strength uh, in terms of the soil subgrade. Uh, the soil subgrade is very important for a pavement because the pavements are designed on a soil subgrade. So whatever is present, we have to know or we have to select the best property of the subgrade material. In today's lecture, we will discuss some of this property that is very intrinsic to the pavement design. The property of the subgrade strength decides the final outcome of your pavement thickness. Subgrade strength can be measured in terms of three areas: the California bearing ratio, the resonant modulus, and the modulus of subgrade ratio. California bearing ratio is a widely used method, where the adaptive method, and it's being used extensively in the pavement design of all highway, port, and airport structures. The resonant modulus is the input of soil strength in one of the recommended method of pavement design of highways. Specifically, the flexible pavement of design of a highway. While modulus of subgrade reaction is used for rigid pavement design. So, in a matter of course of this time, we'll discuss one by one. So, what is California bearing ratio? California bearing ratio, as the word suggests, it's a ratio between two similar properties. And this similar properties is obviously the strength of a soil to the strength of a standard soil that is needed for pavement design. Obviously, when you are designing a pavement, the ideal pavement should be rested on a rock foundation. So whatever we want to know is whatever the soil we have, how close it is to the rock in terms of its strength. CBR is the method developed in late 1930s and is still being used and considered as one of the most accepted method and accepted value for pavement design of any structure, whether it be a port structure, whether it be a highway structure, or it may be any airport pavement structure. What does it do? It measures the strength of the soil related to the standard crushed stone material. This test can be done in laboratory as well as in the field as well. It can be, not only it is limited on the subgrade layer, but the test procedures can be applied for getting the suitability of a subbase layer as well as a base layer. In a pavement design, when we specified a material that should be used for constructing the pavement, we most of the time specify the CBR values. For instance, the CBR value for base layer is around 80, or for the sub-base layer, it is around 30. And the subgrade layer, the preferred value we always would have should be around 10. the value of CBR5 is considered the bare minimum on which the payment to be designed. And if you have the value of CBR less than 5, say 3, you're not going to design a pavement on that layer. You have to do some alternative measures that can be discussed during the course of this lecture. So, what is a California main issue? How does it look like? And what are its in a CBR method, in a CBR for determining the CBR of a sample, of a given sample, whether it be a base sample or a sub-base sample or a subgrade sample or soil sample, we prepare a sample normally 6 inches into 5 inches in height. And once the sample is prepared in a cylinder, then we load a piston at a constant rate. That piston is the external load that is applied on a prepared soil sample. And we record the resistance in terms of the load at every 0.1 inch penetration. Normally, the soil or the given sample, the total penetration does not exceed 0.5 inch. And if the sample is exceeding the 0.5 inch, we stop the test at 0.5 inch. Once you finish the test, you draw the load penetration curve. The picture you can see, this is the sample prepared, and this is a load that is being applied. There are few things that should be noted in the CBR test, in which one thing is the samples are prepared at a moisture content that represents the maximum dry density of a soil sample. So obviously, the prerequisite for this test is a test commonly known as modified Proctor test. So before the soil sample is brought for CBR test, it should have gone through the modified Proctor test, in which we determine the maximum dry density at a given moisture content. So once you know the moisture content, you add that moisture content to given sample while preparing sample for the soil CBR. Let us see the equipment. The equipment are normally, actually the equipment they use are the base plate, and then there's a spacer disc, and there is a, there's a cylinder around 7 inch height, and then there are clamps, and then we have a plate we call swell plate. We have a gauge. We have a standard testing machine that can measure the load as well as the deformation, as you can see this the diagram over here.